high-grade Age-2 Dark Hound.
Hey, what's up again, everybody? Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gundamreviews.net. And you've already seen the unbox, the parts, and the mobile suit and the transformed strider form of this Age-2 Dark Hound in high grade. This is just before the master grade is going to be coming out. Anyway, it's time for a list. Here's the good and bad that I could pick out about this. And of course, I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts on these comments and the kit down below. To kick things off with some of the negatives, I'd say at the very beginning when I saw the unbox that there were a few color choices that were a little bit surprising. The first one just being that we were going to get the 2 shades of gray, that's a good thing, and you're going to get some silver, which is certainly going to set to that third color kind of thing in the gray range. But at the same time, they're giving you these white seals to do the skull on the top, so you'd think that it would have been nice if they had actually put in some white parts as well, or given everything white and you could just sort of paint it silver. Anyway, whatever, I'm just not a big fan. The silver doesn't really stand out all that much, and I think that the skull would be a lot better if you wanted to go paint that both on the chest or the head. But the fact that they only give you one seal for the skull up on the head and not the one on the chest just comes across as a little bit strange. And speaking of seals, here's the sheet here and the leftover ones. You've also got these parts here, which are going to look pretty bad. You can see that the shoulders are going to look bad if you leave them as is there. And they're also going to look bad if you put the wrong color of gray seal on there, which really doesn't seem to be all that great. It would have been sort of nicer if they had had a different design, but nonetheless, outside of the fact they've got those holes there, you could pretend they are weapons, I suppose. With the last complaint about the sticker sheet being that you've got that green part down there below, how cool would it have been if they had incorporated a little bit more green into this? They could have had the sights on the Dodge Lancer or something like that. If it was going to have anything visible, it would have been cool if they had actually done a green part. It would have been tricky to do it for the eyes, I think, except for the fact that with the advanced grades, they've been doing such a good job of getting 2 sets of green eyes in there, and the fact that they're actually a little bit smaller than the recess that they're in, that actually makes it look like they've got the black eyeshadow around them. Fantastic, the fact that they've got that technology in the advanced grades. Would have been cooler if they had done it in here and they could have incorporated a little bit of green, which I think for whatever reason would have gone really well with the black and gray / silver and that little bit of red. This complaint is pretty straightforward for high grades because we always see it with the V-fins already, but these things are going to come with the kitty-proof ends on there so you don't poke your eye out with him stumbling off your top shelf down into your eye when you're short. I have no idea really why they need to do that, but I suppose with the high grades being for a lesser age than the master grades, it's not a bad idea. And my final complaint is just going to be about this one. I already threw it in the MS part, but when you see the Crossbone Gundam, how cool is its weapon, which is going to split from a pistol and a cutlass saber into a super blaster when you put it all together. This one, you've got the Shot Lancer, which is very X2-ish, but if they wanted to be a little bit more of an homage to the X1 or the X3, it would have been nice if they had just had more of a pirate sword motif to that. However, that's a complaint about the mobile suit design, which is not necessarily going to be echoed by a lot of other ones. They already gave us extra plastic there in the form of the Dodge Lancer, but how cool would it have been if Asemu had had 2 custom-made pirate swords to go along with this? Maybe I'm just dreaming, but you can guess that when I'm making complaints like that, that means there's a lot of positives to go with this kit. So on to the positives we go, starting with just the fact that it was great at the very beginning. I always wondered if we were only going to be getting 2 of the Age-2s. Way back at the beginning of Age, they said there was going to be 3, 3, and 3. I don't think anybody knew about the FX at the very start. But when we only got to see the normal and the DB, we had to wonder what was going to happen. The 3rd generation, well, the deadbeat dad came back in this cool, awesome pirate suit. And right away there, you've just got something different from all the other leads. And normally, of course, I like my tri-colored Gundams. But this one just sets itself apart. And when you've got this many leads in a show, why not make him different and at the same time making an homage to the X2? So just the design, I've got to say that I love it. And I'm a huge fan of the Age-2 Normal and this high-grade kit. I'm talking about everything from the ankles and the leg mobility to the way the upper body is going to move around. You've got a transformation built into the chest. It doesn't get in the way at all. And then when you take that and you turn it into this guy where he's going to have a cool color scheme, he's going to have even better side binders than the normal. You've got a Shot Lancer, again thanks to the Age-2 and going all the way back to a whole bunch of Crossbone Vanguard suits. And then you've got probably the most unique head on a lead Gundam there where you've got the great V-fin, the skull that's made out of plastic, even if you've got the seal to go on there, multicolors for the face, and that cool green eye patch there. Not to mention all the fact that you're going to have tons of playability there. You can have the anchor shots shooting forward because you can move these binders all over the place. This is going to look good no matter what you do with it. You've still got the beam sabers, and you're going to be getting this this part of wire here that you can cut into 2, or you can have him shooting out tons of playability, a great transformation, lots of posability there, and when you see him just up against his tri-colored counterparts, or his white Special Forces colors, this guy's going to stand out and probably be the most noteworthy one if you were to put all of the age leads next to each other, and when it translates into a high grade that's this much fun with this many features, with the added bonus that when you pop up the skull on his front then and attach the weapon in, you're going to have such a cool looking nose cone. There's no way that I'd recommend passing up on this pile of plates, which is just going to turn into so much fun here. The whole pirate motif, the build, the playability, like I said, there's really nothing you can beat about this unless you're not a fan of the MS design, or you don't think he should be a good guy just in this color scheme, Strike Noirish, or the Crossbone X2, which is certainly far from a good guy. Certainly going to stand out though, and in terms of playability, I like him more than the normal just because I'm a fan of the binders. On the normal, I thought they looked really cool, especially if you're going to put them up in interesting poses and sort of break off that tab to make these free moving. Even though these binders have less movability, they can move front and back and they can swing up about 90 degrees, but they just look cooler, especially if you clean up the bottoms. Combine that again with the anchor shots and some cool weapons and that eye patch. Hey, this guy, no miss definitely, I'd say. But on to the fun stuff with future speculation, because when you take a look around here, you're going to have 4 canon versions of the Age-2, and then this silly one over here in Diva colors for the double bullet. And I suppose you could Diva colors up any of these if you chose to. We already know that we're going to be getting a Master Grade in the not too distant future, which is just fantastic to go along with the Master Grade Age-2 normal. Of course, that just leads to a little bit of lamenting the fact that we don't have the double bullet. After getting all 3 versions of the Age-1 in short order, it would have been nice to do the same for the Age-2. And of course, it throws the whole Master Grade line of Age into doubt whether we're going to be getting any bad guys. All 3 of the Age-3s, you know that we'll be getting the normal and the FX. But I suppose with this one, we've got a great advanced grade, a great high grade, and there is still a dark horse on the horizon because we've got a 1/48th in the form of the mega size model for the Age-1 and the Age-2. Disappointing again when they didn't announce an Age-3 would be coming out. But that Age-2, I didn't take a look at the plates because I haven't built that because they didn't release an Age-3. I figured that I'd want only the first one or all of them. But what do you think about a Dark Hound in the larger size? I don't really think it's going to happen, but it is always a possibility. Anyway, I suppose Bandai's going to see how the AG and the HG did. We've already seen with Super Sentai and things like that, pirates, not to mention that little anime or manga, One Piece, that it seems to be pretty popular, so we'll see what it does with Gundams. And you always have to wonder, in terms of the greatest future speculation, that with Age out of the way, is there a chance that we've already seen Unicorn adapted into an OVA, whether the long dream of Crossbone actually becoming animated canon, instead of just written by, well, the founder himself canon, whether that's gonna happen. Anyway, everybody, I'd love to hear your thoughts, both about the model and about the whole pirate theme. What do you think of this review? What do you think of the verdict? Is this something you could pass on? Or can you pick out some more nitpicky things than I could? I was trying really hard to think of some. It was a bit of a stretch. Otherwise, I gotta say that this guy is just fantastic. Anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching, and stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use, and hopefully more Pirate Gundams in the future. See you next time. Bye. Gundam's got a lot of pirates now between the XO, X1, X2, X3, X1 full cloth, and the Dark Hound. But is even that enough to take on the might of the Mugiwara pirates? Yes, it's a dream fight indeed.